making guest appearances occasionally. And so let's just talk a little bit about why we just played that silly game, which is actually kind of fun, all right? One of the reasons we played that silly game is sometimes we got to go back to understand the future, okay? Because our bodies were designed for that time period. Because we spent most of our time doing that, all right? So, somebody needs to help me run this thing here. Thank you. All right. So, we need to go back to a time when, in order to eat, we might eat, right? So, for a super long time, we spent most of our waking hours moving. We only played that game for about 5 minutes. How many of you were a little bit tired? A little bit. Especially if you were one of the hunters, having to run around. If you were protecting the cave, probably not too tired. Okay? But imagine doing this for 4 to 6 hours. Okay? And they would go on long. We're endurance predators, so we hunt like wolves. Okay? We run down game. We separate it from the pack, and sometimes it takes 4 to 6 hours. You might run 20, 30 miles in a day to capture an animal that you need to survive. Everyone else is out probably putting in 10 or 15 miles, walking around trying to find eggs, trying to find roots and testing out foods, trying to find things to eat to stay alive. So that's what our bodies were designed to do all day long, and our brains. That's how our brains developed. People that came up with good hunting strategies and good strategies for finding food, those are the people that lived. You saw how many people died, okay? So life was not super easy back then, okay? But even people in very recent history, we were incredibly active, okay? We had to haul wood, we had to haul water. Life has not really gotten easy until very recently, so people have always had to move and work many hours a day. That's what our bodies want. That's what they need, and our brains. In today's society, probably the only people that still sort of live like that are the Amish people. Okay? There are a few religious sects that don't believe in technology. They don't have cars, they don't have machinery, they do everything by hand. Okay? And so they're pretty busy all day. They're probably 18,000 steps is, I don't know, probably about 8-9 miles on average every day. Okay? So, however, now everything is, you just drive up and get it, right? So here's kind of how we've evolved. Do you see how our bodies have changed? Yeah, not so pretty. So in this very short period of time, like the last 50 years, we have completely disrupted how our bodies function, because now we sit. We sit for hours and hours. We sit as much as people used to move. We eat a bunch of fake food our body doesn't recognize, and we have this constant low-level stress. All right? It's as if our bodies have been transported to an alien planet. And our bodies are like, well, what is this? I don't recognize any of this. We're sitting, we're eating food that our body doesn't even recognize. We've got this constant, our bodies are kind of in a state of shock. All right? And in this short period of 50 years, do you see how adolescents have changed? This is like kind of the norm. And it's not just the weight. Do you see the posture, how bad the posture is? The neck forward with all of our devices, the sway back from sitting so much. So our bodies are really, and our brains are really suffering because our environment is actually sort of toxic to us. All right? So, how do we reverse this trend? We're probably not going to all go live in some Amish community. But what we do need is we need to start finding more balance. And it starts with recognizing, oh, my body needs wholesome food. It's actually out there and available. It just takes a little more work, doesn't it, to cook your own food? Okay? So remembering, my body really needs good food that it recognizes. My body needs exercise, but mostly we just need to move more. Quit taking elevators and escalators. Quit taking buses and cars everywhere. Walk more. Just move more. I know that's hard when you're in school and they're saying sit down all the time and be quiet. Okay? But finding opportunities just to move more in the day. Don't go for 10,000 steps, go for 15,000. Okay? Really just, our bodies and our brains desperately need that. And then of course, we need to develop some mental strength strategies because stress is very different in today's world. It's not just, you know, lions chasing us anymore. That danger, we either die or the danger goes away. And then we are back to normal. Stress is very different in today's world. All right? So I'm here to do the little mental strength piece today. And so I want to jump to that. Okay, so the basis for this program, this Get to Live and Learn program, is what we just did today. Is to help us realize we need to get back to living in a way that's more helpful, more like we lived in the past. All right? We got to move more, we got to eat well, and we have to figure out some strength. The mental strength piece is the hardest because we can't make the stress go away. This is the world we live in. All right? We can't just say, oh, I'm going to go back in time and live in a different place. This is where we live. All right? So again, mental strength is all about awareness. Learning to be more mindful of yourself, aware of yourself, aware of others around you, how they're impacting you, how you're impacting them, and then the greater world. So did we just do some awareness about how our world has become toxic to us? Okay? So that's the first piece of information that you get to walk around with now. Like, oh, it's toxic. I hadn't thought about it that way. There are some things that I can do to make it less toxic so I don't suffer all these diseases that we're now getting because of that. All right? The next thing I'm going to do is this is going to be some self-awareness today. Okay? You're going to learn different things about your brain, but this is the most important thing you're going to learn about your brain. All right? That's why we're starting with it first. So let's learn a little bit about the brain and how it works and what's going on so that you can become in control of it. All right? So first of all, your prefrontal cortex. You've probably heard a lot about that because you guys know that yours won't fully develop until you're 25. That's why there's all those rules about drinking and not smoking marijuana and all those things that you're not supposed to do when you're young. It's because your prefrontal cortex is still developing. This is the thinking part of your brain, so we don't want to screw that up. Okay? That's why there's all those rules about drugs for you guys. Okay? The thinking part of our brain, that's where we make decisions, we have our judgments, we strategize, we figure out math problems, stuff like that. Okay? Super important. The other really important part of your brain is your hippocampus. All right? Your hippocampus is your memory, short and long term. That's where we store information. So you guys probably had to do some homework, and if you did it and really tried to learn it, you stored it in your short-term memory. And then if there's a test today, you'll call that out. And then if you use it over time, it'll be permanently stored in your memory. Okay? Also super important. All right? But here's what you need to understand about the structure. I want everyone to make a fist with your thumb tucked in. Make a fist. All right. I want you to think about this as the three parts of your brain that we're talking about. Your fingers on the outside are your prefrontal cortex. Fingers. Okay? Prefrontal cortex. Underneath here, your palm is your hippocampus. Okay? So your hippocampus is your palm. And when my brain is nice and relaxed and calm, my prefrontal cortex is in contact with my hippocampus and they can work together. This is how we optimize learning. All right? So, prefrontal cortex, talking to my hippocampus. So all that memorization that I just did about how to do that math problem is in my hippocampus. Now I'm going to use my prefrontal cortex to go, okay, let's see. Okay, I think this is this kind of a problem. And I just memorized the formula for doing that, so I'm going to plug that formula in, and came up with the right answer. Okay? So I strategized and made a decision about what kind of a problem it was. I looked in my hippocampus for the information about the formula for solving that kind of a problem, and voila, I actually got the answer right on my math test. You guys see how that works? All right, you don't quite get it? You want another example, or you got it? You got it? All right, I like it when people, if you don't get it, please, I'm happy to give more examples. Okay? All right, so nice, calm, relaxed brain. Okay, now here's this thing about our brain that works really great in emergencies. So we have an amygdala. The amygdala is your thumb, all right? And if it's nice and calm and relaxed, it just stays in here, not doing much. But the minute my amygdala senses danger, okay, so here's what happened to you guys. You guys saw Mr. Catabay with that big old noodle coming after you, and your amygdala went, woo, like this. Your amygdala went on guard, all right? It's like, oh, danger, that is a big scary man with a noodle, all right? He's gonna send me to the graveyard. So what happens is, what happened to my prefrontal cortex when my amygdala went into action?
Adrenal gland.
Yeah, it flips up, because you know what? Your amygdala shuts down the other parts of your brain, because do I want to be kind of thinking and strategizing while I'm being chased? Oh, let's see, maybe I'll do some poetry. No, that's pretty inefficient, right? So in an emergency, my amygdala kicks in, I flip my lid, and now I only have 3 choices, and these work really well. I can freeze. So sometimes, you know how you'll see an animal, there'll be a sound, and they'll just like freeze in place, and sometimes they blend in so well you don't see them, and they stay totally still. So that's one strategy. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just try to freeze. Like I see him coming in, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stand here and hope that he sees that other person and doesn't notice me. That's one strategy. It's like, uh-oh, I just saw his eyes on me. That's not going to work. So my next strategy is to run, flight. I'm going to flee. I'm going to get out of here. So I take off. And he traps me in the corner. What's my last option? Fight. To fight. And the great thing about adrenaline is it gives me a lot more power to run faster and to fight. It really sharpens my focus and my awareness. I can actually see better. I can see further. I'm stronger. I'm sure you guys have been scared before, and maybe you guys feel like, oh my God, I've never run that fast in my life. Everybody have that? Like on Halloween, you get scared and someone's chasing you or whatever? All right. Okay, maybe that's just Halloween. Anyway, so fight is always our last option, because usually if we're in the fight part, we might lose. So we don't usually choose that first. We usually choose it last. Now, in an emergency situation, this is a highly efficient system. It works great, and that's why you're all sitting here today. Because enough people survived that awful world out there with lions, didn't they? Okay? Now, in today's world, this is going to happen to you all the time, because your brain, it doesn't know the difference between a lion chasing you and being worried about a test. Okay? So negative emotions, fear, worry, anxiety, trigger this to happen. So here's what it looks like in today's world. Okay? I'm a math teacher. I'd like you to meet some of my students. Fantasia? Nice to meet you. Okay. Gloria? Great. You wanna come join us there, Fernando? Oh. All right. All right. Okay, I just want to kind of check in, about how your math skills are, and just, see if you learned anything last year, kind of want to find out where you're at. Gloria.
Sure, I've been practicing. I've really been doing all my homework, trying to get really good at it, so I'm really confident I got this.
see, thinking, well, Mom, can you, I'm going to, okay, yeah, oh, 12 by 12. 144. Oh. All right. Yeah, Fernando. Yeah, hey. Come on. 3 plus 3.
Let's start the first. Can I go with nurse?
Oh, sorry.
Can you drink some water?
Yeah, go get a drink. That one's good. All right. All right. Okay, Fantasia. Okay. Okay. That's right. 3 times 3. Do you need a minute?
Can I? I need a minute.
All right. Hey, yeah, just go help him out, see if he's feeling better. Getting back to class here. Okay, you have a little bit of time. Took some deep breaths. Did you study?
Yes.
So you've been practicing, so you bet you know this, don't you?
Yes. It's 9.
Oh, good job. Good job. All right. Fernando, hey, back to you. All right, come on. 3 plus 3, you got this. I know you got this, right? You said it.
Why do you always give me the hard ones?
Well,
You're always picking on me. Why don't you give them the hard ones? Why is it always me?
you know, just
Stupid.
then why don't you go to like how
Man, all is life. All is life.
All right, let's give him a hand. Now, so, Gloria, what was her brain doing? Was she like, was she relaxed?
Yeah.
Was she like this?
Yes.
Okay? She's like confident, right? I got this. I do math in my sleep, whatever. All right? So she's calm. Does math class seem like a really safe, easy place for her? Yeah. So she's going to do really well in math. She's going to do really well in math because it's like, I can handle anything. I'm fair enough. I'm good at this. So she comes into math class with a nice, relaxed brain. Everything works well. All right? Now, Fantasia, what happened to her?
She went into the freeze.
Yeah, she started to, did she freeze? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and she knew the answer. Question, or you just, yeah, just flipping your list, showing me good, thanks. All right, so how do you think she was feeling when I called her name? Nervous?
Like she might have been in trouble.
Like she might be in trouble? Okay? So sometimes when our name gets called, it's frequently, sometimes it'll be a negative emotion. And remember, negative emotions, same reaction. Whether it's a lion, or it's just, okay, I'm embarrassed to talk in front of people, I don't think I know the answer, I'm not very good at math. All of those things can trigger this, and so she froze. What, did you guys see what her strategy was for helping get back?
Your pants.
Peter Pants? Okay, well that. Yeah. Breathing. Okay? Now, it's a particular kind of breathing. If I breathe through my mouth, that actually makes me more upset. Because that's how we breathe when we're in emergency. So I can actually make myself freak out by just doing a bunch of mouth breathing. Like so. Alright? So she did some real deep nose breathing. But then did she also say to herself, okay, I know this, I studied, so did she also kind of reinforce a positive image in her head, I know this? Alright? And so she was able to calm herself down through breathing, because when you breathe through your nose, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the nervous system that shuts down this emergency response. Alright? Sympathetic fires it up, parasympathetic calms it down. All right? And she was able to come up with the answer, or at least respond without just freezing. Okay? Fernando, what happened to him?
She went into freeze.
He went into this, didn't he? What was his first strategy? Yeah. So did he freeze? Like, oh, I gotta go see the nurse. I gotta get a drink, right? So His first strategy was to get out of the room. Did we go get him and trap him and make him come back? Yeah. And so then what was his strategy? Yeah, he got in a fight with me, picked a fight with me, right? And then he got out of the room. So he didn't have to deal with that. So here's the moral of the story. We have constant stress. How many of you have a worry or a doubt or a fear many times during the day? Something pops into your head, makes you a little nervous. Absolutely. We always have things happening to us. So this constant stress, we need to have some strategies. So you just learn two. Just take a minute to take a deep breath through your nose. And then remind yourself of something positive. And it might even be, okay, I didn't study. I don't know the answer. And so I'm just going to try to get out of this situation as gracefully as possible. I'm going to just say, I didn't study. I'll be sure and do that next time. I don't know the answer. Somebody want to help me out? All right? Or, I can get through this. This is not hard. I can do this. Let me just think through it for a minute. Whatever. But saying something positive, deep breath through your nose. Practice that today. Anytime you notice yourself starting to get a little bit anxious or on edge or nervous about something, just take a deep breath through your nose. Say something, I look good today. Whatever. Just a positive thought.
What if you practice that more times than you remembered and it doesn't work?
Okay, we're going to learn a lot more strategies, but it actually is working because we know, we've done studies. They put electrodes on people's brains when they've said positive and negative things. Okay, you're probably super special. Okay, and that is actually kind of a thing that you are going through right now. Okay.
It's not like that last time.
Okay, we'll talk about it, and you may just need more strategies, and we have a whole bunch we're going to learn this year. Okay, but don't stop using them. All right, because they still are helpful to your brain. You may not see them working, but they are. Okay, so we do know that when people breathe through their nose, it turns on their parasympathetic nervous system, whether you notice it or not. You may not feel like, oh, walking on cloud nine, awesome, but it is helping you somewhat. And we also know that positive things are helping you. You may not feel like $1 million yet, all right? And it may not fix all your problems. It's not intended to, but it will help your brain and body be calmer. Okay? I promise. All right. We're going to do a quick activity. We might only have time for so I think you guys are going to get back into your groups in a minute. Ms. Santonic is going to...
Yep. Raise your hand if you were the recorder for that for the hunter-gatherer game. So you guys are going to be picking up the material, but we got to go really quick to get this done by the end. So make sure you're listening to directions. When I say go, the reporters are going to come over to the table with me, and you're going to grab the article and a pencil. The rest of the group is going to find a spot in the gym and sit knee to knee, just like you did at the beginning of the activity. Clear? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Everybody, any questions? Go.